Alright everybody, welcome back to Teach Me Coco. This is the second part of episode 1, and we're going to continue our work on making our higher-lower little drinking game app. Now in part 1, there's one little piece I forgot that was a mistake. This should be self.numberslabel.hidden equals self.numberslabel.hidden. I forgot to add the .hidden there. And what that does is saying, hey, if our label's not hidden, it should be the opposite of what it already is. So if it's not hidden, it is hidden, and vice versa. So just forgot to add that little part here. But if you build and run, this is what should happen. And you can see that every other time it disappears. So just a simple little thing, just go ahead and add that, and we are good to go. So we have everything working except for, you'll notice it always says 1 drinks. Well, that doesn't make any sense. It should say 1 drink, or it should say like 2, 3, 4, 5 drinks, or however intense you guys want to play the game. So the next thing we need to do is add logic that changes that. So to do that, let's make a method that'll return the right string, NS string, or text that we want to display here. So let's go ahead and drop down a few lines, hit the minus symbol, hit a space, and we want to once again return an NS string, or rather a pointer to that string. And we're going to call this method number of drinks text. And then we'll go ahead and hit space, and add some braces, and there we go. We have a new method called number of drinks text. Okay, so number of drinks. We used an arc4 random here to return a random number. Well, you can go ahead and copy and paste that. We're going to go copy. But this time we're going to do arc4 random %, and we're just going to do 5. So this will return a random number between 1 and 5. So now that we have this random, and let's rename that. We'll call that random number. And you can make this whatever you want, but I don't want anybody having to take more than 5 drinks when I play this game with them. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is add logic that'll say either drink if it's 1, or drinks multiple if it's either 0 or more than 1. So we're going to use an if statement. And an if statement just starts with if, space, and then a parenthesis, and then the condition. So we're going to say number, or random number, and then you go equals 1. So this only happens if there's 1 drink. We want to go return, and then we're going to go at symbol, quotations, and we're going to put 1 drink. Okay, so what happened here is we have a random number, and we're saying if that random number equals 1. Now the reason it's 2 equals, random number equals 1 would assign 1 to the random number. But we want to just check if it's equals, that's why there's 2 equal sign. So if random number equals 1, return this. Now I told you we'd be returning an NS string object, and I didn't lie. This is just a different way of making a string. It's called a string literal. So it's a little bit easier to read. So it's just at symbol, and then whatever's in your quotations, that is a string literal, and that's what's returned. Now we're still getting an error, because if the random number doesn't equal 1, nothing will get returned, which can't happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to say else, then drop some braces. We need to return a different string. Now we don't know exactly what number it's going to be returned. We don't know, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4. Now instead of checking random number equals 1, random number equals 2, random number equals 3, there's something else we can do. So we're going to make a string a little bit differently. We're going to make an NS string, and then we're going to go string with format, and then we're going to go at symbol, quotation, and then we're going to go %LU, and then drinks with plural, end quotations, and then a right square bracket and a semicolon. And then between the quotation and the right bracket, we want to put our random number. Okay, so let me show you what's going on here. So an NS string, string with format, returns a new string. Now the %LU is called a token, and what that means is whatever is written right here, it's going to be a long unsigned integer, an unsigned long, which is just computer talk for a number, is going to be replaced with a variable here called random number. So random number got assigned to, let's say, 3. This will be replaced with 3, so it'll say 3 drinks. Or if this is 2, it'll say 2 drinks. So a little way to save some code, and we'll always get the right grammatical syntax. And then all we have to do is say self.number of drinks label equals left bracket self, and then we can go number of drinks text, and then end that. So I'm a view controller object saying self call my number of drinks method that I have right there. Oh, and I forgot to put text. Sorry about that. So I'm a view controller that has a number of drinks label, which I have right up here, which is connected to this label right here. And it has a text property, that's what's actually written in that label, equals, I'm a view controller once again, and call my number of drinks text method, and that returns either this string or this string with a random number. So hopefully we're able to follow that, but it's just objects calling methods on other objects. And if we hit run here, we should have a working app. And you can see it jumps between the different numbers and then the drinks text. Now, one last thing we want to fix here is when you very first open the app, you'll see the text label is not hidden. There's a few ways to fix that. We could go into the storyboard file and set that to hidden in the attributes. But one way to do it with code I want to show you is calling the viewDidLoad method, or rather having our viewDidLoad method called. So we are a view controller object. Now I'll explain inheritance a little more when we go over classes, but UI view controller, if we take a look at our header file here, our view controller, our custom one, is a subclass of UI view controller. So that means we are a UI view controller. We just can do even more stuff, or specifically this stuff that we added. But every view controller has a method called viewDidLoad, so we hit minus space void. Now void means it doesn't return anything, it just executes code. It doesn't return a string or return a number or do any other thing. It just runs some code. And you'll put viewDidLoad. Now you'll see it auto completes. That's because our superclass or a UI view controller has this method. And we hit space and then drop some braces. So every time this view controller is loaded, this method will get called. And it overrides the UI view controller. So the first thing we need to do is go super viewDidLoad. So this is saying, hey, our custom view controller, the view loaded. Now we need to say, okay, but I'm a UI view controller and I don't want to override the entire thing. I just want to add to it. So my UI view controller or my superclass call viewDidLoad. So we've done everything that our superclass needs to do, but now we can do some stuff. And what we want to do is go self.number of drinks label.text, .hidden equals yes. So right away when our view controller loads and after our superclass is done doing stuff that we don't even know about or that we don't even care about, go ahead and take my number of drinks label and make it hidden. And now if we go Command R or we hit the play button, when the app first starts, you can see that text label is hidden and everything works just as you'd expect. So a pretty simple application. I hope you guys have a little bit better understanding of what methods are. They're just chunks of code. They start with a plus or minus. They have a return type if you want to return an object, or if you want to return void if you don't want to return anything. You give it a name, you drop some braces, and if you have a return type, you just have to make sure you return an actual object like a string, if it's an NS string. And the great part is, let's say I need to call this code from all different places, it's reusable. So I can always say self, if I'm a view controller number of drinks, or if someone made a view controller object, they could always say view controller number of drinks, just like we did super viewDidLoad. Or cards is an array object, we're calling the object.index method. So methods are the basic way objects interact with each other, and we'll dig into a little bit more with objects of how you define custom objects, more than just a subclass of a view controller. So hopefully you guys had some fun with that. If you have any questions, let me know. The best way to reach me is by Twitter or leave a comment in the comment section. Hope you guys had fun, and until next time.